humans are born with a curious mind. When we are young, just started to think, we start asking questions about this strange place that we call the universe. And this curiosity can lead us to incredible places and make us invent, make us solve problems that changes the world forever. Hi, my name is Zubuyer, and I take pictures of space. And I built my own telescope, and among other things that we will talk about. So in this talk, I'm basically going to talk about my journey into this strange world of space, cosmos, and astronomy. So it all starts with a question. What are those tiny dots in the sky? What are planets? What are galaxies? And can I actually see it for myself? So in the early years of my life, I would watch documentaries and it would show images from the Hubble Space Telescope or big telescopes on the ground and show us images that looked fantastic, that looked like a dream, a painting. But I always ask myself, are those real? Can it actually exist? Does those color actually exist right above our head? I needed to see it for myself. And I learned about this incredible device called a telescope that can bring things closer to you and you can see stars and the moon and the galaxies and whatnot. But as a young child, I couldn't really convince my parents to buy me a really expensive telescope, so I had to think of something else. So I had this science book, science experiment book, and it had a diagram of a simple telescope. And telescopes are really simple instruments. It has an objective lens and an eyepiece. You have a longer focal length objective lens, and it basically gathers the light, and eyepiece magnifies it. That's it. That's all to it. So I understood how to calculate the focal length and went to a spectacle shop, who makes our eyewear, and I asked them, hey, just give me a lens with this power. So they were like, what are you gonna do with it? So I was 12 years old at the time. Like, that is not your concern, just make me these lenses. I just need one of each. So they eventually did the next day. I went there very eagerly and brought the lens back. And I stole my mother's cardboard tube. She used to do design work at that time. So I took her cardboard tube, cut it up with kitchen knife, and built this telescope. So this is me, 12 years old. So this was my first glimpse into the universe. So the question is, are those real, right? So I looked up at the moon. It looked beautiful. And under a starry night one night, I looked at this star cluster called the Pleiades. I don't know if you know, there's this tiny question mark in the sky. If there's clear night during the winter season, you can see a tiny question mark in the sky. So you can see 7 stars with your naked eye. But I wanted to see if there are more. So I looked at it, and it seemed like there are thousands and thousands of stars that we can see. And it blew my mind. I was like, wow, this is cool. I want to do this. Like, I want to pursue this at some point. But as kids do, they lose track of things. They get interested in other things. And I had all the interest in the world. I was into computer graphics and programming, and I liked filmmaking. I liked special effects. So I couldn't do it all at the same time. I had to choose one or the other. So I chose computer graphics and animation, and that basically started a career for me. So these are some of my early work. I was still a teenager back then. As you can see, this is actually my desk. I made it out of computer graphics, 3D software, and these are the drawings that I used to do. So from an early age, art had a huge impact in my life. The first memories that I have are my mother and I drawing something, and those are very special, and that inspired me to pursue art. And to this day, it is very close to my heart. So later on in my career, I made hundreds of TV commercials and videos for corporate industry and TV shows, etc. These are some of my personal work. I really love sculpting and sculpting characters and whatnot. But something happened back in 2016. I went to the Himalayas. I don't know if it is the high altitude or what. I saw the most brilliant starry sky, and it was almost a meditative state. I was just looking at the stars and it was calling me. It was literally, I could hear it like, this is the way, right? And I didn't know what it meant. I had interest in astronomy, but I had no idea what I could do about space. I already have a career, I'm happy, like what else is there to do right now? But I could feel that there is this emptiness inside me and this longing that something is not pursued or something is unfinished. So I was like, okay, I'll keep an eye out for it. So I was doing my normal day work and whatnot, but interesting space things started to come up. I had this project, there were some scientists from NASA, and they were talking about space, Mars, and whatnot. I started to collect some data from Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. I don't have it here, sorry. So I started processing them, and I had a lot of fun. So that led me to pursue another interest that I had, which is electronics. So I wanted to make robots, right? They're pretty cool. You can program them, and I always had this fascination that hey, you can code something, and in physical world something will happen, and that was absolutely incredible. So I started tinkering with that. A couple of years went by actually. This is 2018, and something terrible happened. My grandmother passed away, and she was very close to me, and it shook me to my core. Like our lives are fragile. Like we are not here forever. So the least that we can do is, connect to our child self and feel those interests that we had as a child, and maybe do something about it. So I remembered that I wanted to see space up close. So like, okay, let's do something about it. I want to make a telescope, and I want to see the stars. But I had no idea that you could actually take pictures with them. So I saw some people, some incredible photographers, who took pictures from their backyard of nebulae and galaxies, and with incredible details. I was like, that is what I want to do. I want to capture space. And it gave me a sense of purpose. So let's see if we can, yeah. So I needed a proof that, don't react to it yet, right? So I needed proof that something like nebula or a galaxy exists. So all I had was a DSLR camera and a tripod, nothing fancy, and a very normal kit lens. I put it up on my rooftop, pointed at the Cygnus constellation. There is supposed to be some nebulae. I pointed it at that region, and I took some long exposure photographs. Since I wasn't tracking the sky, I couldn't take very long exposures, like 4-second exposures or something. So I took like a couple of hundreds. I took them back, started processing it, and this came out. I could actually see some red nebula light, and that gave me confirmation that these things exist. NASA wasn't lying, right? So then it started an obsession. I designed my telescope. This is the first telescope that I designed after I was 12. So it was a 500 millimeter refractor telescope. Everything is custom designed and 3D printed. This is the rig that I had. Most of it was manual, so I had to point it to what I wanted to capture, and the mount would track it. There was nothing fancy about it. It was laborious. I spent sometimes hours just looking for the target I was trying to photograph. So I needed some upgrade, right? So I think it was 2022, I bought a fancy tracking mount and a cooled camera. A cooled camera is basically a slightly different than what we use, like a DSLR. A DSLR sensor is not cooled, but in astronomy, the colder your sensor is, the finer the details and less the noise. So, but I still needed a telescope, a bigger one, because 500 millimeter, I wanted to see things closer. So I started building a 900 millimeter telescope, but this one had some fancy features like autofocusing, like there is a robotic focuser that I can control with my computer. So it was really fancy. So I started experimenting with that. So this is a collage of all the space objects that I took with this setup. So there are galaxies and the moon. There's a comet even captured in 2020. Some nebulae, Orion Nebula, that's the Pleiades star cluster. So everything together. And the interesting part about this image is everything is in apparent scale. So this is how big each objects are in our night sky. So as you can see, that's the moon, and that is the Andromeda Galaxy. That's how big the Andromeda Galaxy is. It is 6 times the size of a full moon. The only reason we cannot see it because these are very faint. So anyways, talking about my next upgrade. So this is the telescope that I developed. I'm actually really happy with it. It has been working like a workhorse for the last 3 or so years. And that is me using the telescope to take some pictures of space. And I'm going to show you some images that I captured with it. So these are 3 of the images. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. So these are confirmation that the science books aren't lying, the documentaries aren't lying. So this is the Eagle Nebula, and in the center of it is the Pillars of Creation. There's this famous Hubble image with like 3-finger looking structure, and that is a confirmation that that nebula exists. This is the Orion Nebula, and that is the Horsehead Nebula, 3 of my very favorite space objects. I also do wide field astrophotography. These are taken with 200 millimeter camera lenses. So no, you don't really need a huge telescope to take pictures of space. It is all about technique and how you gather the data. That is kind of like landscape astrophotography. I included some landscape. That is a southern target called Carina. This is the North American Nebula. This is actually the first image that I showed you, but in high definition with longer exposure and whatnot. Let's see if we can go to the next slide. Another of my favorite thing to do is Milky Way photography with landscape, of course, but I don't get to do it much often because Bangladeshi weather is terrible for astrophotography, especially wide field astrophotography because it is mostly cloudy most of the year, and even now all these things are available, like you can see it right now in the sky, but the weather doesn't always permit. I love taking pictures of comets. These are a few comets that I've captured. Of course, I think you know the center one. It is the Suchinshan Atlas comet from 2024. It is taken in October. This is one of my favorite images I've ever captured because I always wanted to capture a huge comet, and that was my time. There was this comet called Neowise, and I missed it, and I hated myself for it because of weather. It wasn't really my fault. So some of the comets. And another thing that I really enjoy doing is solar system astrophotography. It involves taking pictures of the moon, the sun, and the planets. So I'm going to show you some of my images. These are 3 planets that I've captured. I think you all know which of these. Like this is Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. I love Jupiter. Jupiter is so dynamic. It is moving all the time. It takes only 10 hours to rotate on its axis once. Like for Earth, it's 24 hours. For a giant like this, it only takes 10. It's incredible. I took some pictures of the International Space Station moving across the sun and the moon. International Space Station is very cool to me because it is a giant structure. It's a building basically, the size of a football field that is just hovering over our head. Like, imagine the things that we can do. We are humans and we have done that. Like, we have put a mark on space, and someday, hopefully, among you, you'd land on the moon or Mars. I really hope you do, and send me a message and say just hi. That would make my day, my year, my decade. So, speaking of the moon, I love taking lunar photography. And this is one of my largest moon photos. Thank you. So, you can take pictures of the moon with your cell phones or cameras, but since I have a telescope and I can look closer, I could take a huge photo. This is actually not taken with the telescope that I built. It is taken with a Schmidt-Cassegrain telescope with a focal length of about 4,000, 5,000 millimeters. So what can we actually achieve with this? These are commercially available gear. These are not NASA grade or astronomy grade or anything. These are just things that you can actually buy. Let's take some closer look. Are we doing anything here? Whoop. Whoop. There you go. All right. So this is a closer segment of that large photos. We can see the mountains and the shadows and the ridges and the lava channels. And the smallest feature that you can see in this image is probably 1 or 2 kilometers big. So this is a very high resolution image. I'll show you some other segments of it. Here's some. It's always a treat to see the shadows casted on the craters because like everybody likes the full moon, right? Everybody, yeah? Full moon is cool. I hate it. I mean, I don't hate it, but there's nothing to see during the full moon. It is when the moon is half lit, we can see all these craters and shadow details and whatnot. So I'll show you the last one. That's it. There you go. So this is the moon. All right. So this is a fun one. I just landed, and it was yesterday, and there was this interesting phenomenon that was happening. We could see the planet Mercury and the moon in conjunction. So we went to Potanga Beach and took these 2 photos. So it was more than a memory for me. These are not perfect photos, but I like taking mundane images that tells a story sometimes, just for me. So I just wanted to show you because we're in Chittagong, and you know it is kind of your home. So kudos to that. All right, so let's talk about a multidisciplinary approach. This is an idea that I want to share with you. See, the interests that we have throughout our lives, if you decide to pursue them, it doesn't have to be a professional pursuit. It can be just for yourself. Just do the things that interest you. Nobody needs to know about this. Nobody knew I was doing astrophotography for the last 6 years because I started back in 2019. And you know, I think those who know me from the last 8 months or so, right? So nobody has to know what you do. Just follow your instincts, follow your passion, and fuel those interests. Because when you want to start a career, you guys are students, many of you are, you want to build your career. So the one advice that I would give you is learn as much as possible and connect the dots. if you want to be a chemical engineer, doing some art doesn't hurt, right? Doing some photography doesn't hurt. Doing some running doesn't hurt. Maybe someday it will help you in developing a breakthrough product or a breakthrough experiment or anything that is incredible, comes from a lot of places, and those dots connected can bring you to some incredible places. So this is my approach. I have all these interests, and the things that I do right now would never be possible if I didn't fuel those tiny little interests. So this is something that I wanted to share with you quickly. And in the end, there's this other thing that I'm very passionate about, which is protecting our night sky. Our skies are under threat, and it is not from some kind of enemy or aliens or whatnot. It is from ourselves. Our lights that we use to illuminate our cities are destroying our view of the universe. How? Our atmosphere has particles in it, dust particles, different kind of molecules, gas. So when you shine white light through it, it starts glowing. And as you can see in this horrifying image, I mean, for some it'll be like, ooh, cool city, lights. But to me, this is a shot from a horror film because of all these white light. So as you can see, the sky is clear. This is one of the clearest sky I had last year in Dhaka. And all you can see is like, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stars or something? That's embarrassing. The sky should be full of stars and full of wonders, but our lights are washing them out, making the sky bright, our atmosphere bright, and we cannot see the fainter stars and galaxies and nebulae that will broaden our understanding of our universe. So what can we do about it? There are 3 very simple things that we can do to help this situation. Number 1 is use downward facing lights. Lights that are covered. On the left side, we see very poor lighting. The dome lighting, we are very accustomed to seeing. They look weird to me. I mean, why is it spreading all over the place? It should be lighting only the path that we can use. There's no point in illuminating the sky or our neighbor's backyard, right? So using downward facing light is both better for stargazers, and it will reduce sky glow, and it will confuse the birds less and insects less. So this is the first step that we can take. Use a shaded light, use light wherever it is necessary. The next thing that we can do, whoa, what? No, not yet, okay. So the next thing that we can do, sorry about that. Next thing that we can do is use warm light. So this helps us in a couple of ways. One is, for us astrophotographers, we can cut down these kind of light with filters, right? It is the lesser evil for us. For normal people, it attracts less bugs. White light attracts more bugs, right? So using warm light is better for everybody. So we are not just doing this for ourselves. We are also doing this for nature and protecting the balance that we are hoping to achieve. And lastly, turn off all the lights. Turn off all the unnecessary lights. If you don't need something on your rooftop, what is the point of illuminating it with a floodlight, right? So whenever it is possible, please turn off your lights. It will save us energy and save the night sky. So you've been amazing. Thank you so much for letting me share my stories with you. And I wish you all the very, very best. And lastly, I wish you all clear skies and clear minds.